Hello everyone, welcome on back. It's Betting Weekly Game Bet Match and one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. I'm Nigel Seeley. Joined to me as per usual on a Wednesday is our senior ATP Tour handicapper. It's Sean Calvert. Sean, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon. How's it going?
I'm feeling all right, a bit tired, but I'm feeling good. My back is getting better, very good, and no ailments for me. No complaints. So surely you must be feeling the same. Good betting winners must be good for all ins.
Yeah, well, I've hurt my toe, which isn't that helpful.
What's happened now?
I kicked one of Natasha's chests. She has all this rubbish.
Hang on a minute. You kicked what? This
Chests.
A chest. Okay, go on. Okay.
She keeps all this junk from the 80s, like cassette tapes from the 1980s and stuff, which she's like a hoarder, obviously. She doesn't throw anything away. So she's got all these chests dotted around the house with stuff in it that's not been touched for about 40 years. Occasionally she'll go into one of these chests and she'll sort of do something with it, and then she'll put it back in a slightly different position, like it might be a couple of inches out from where it was before. So she's obviously put this thing back in a slightly different position. I've walked past, kicked it, like you do. My toe is causing me a lot of grief at the minute now. So, yeah, this is what happens.
So what kind of music? Is it music tape? Music tape?
Yeah. That's one that wasn't in this particular chest, but that's an example of stuff she does.
How do you play him?
She doesn't.
You must have.
She doesn't. She's got the same reason she's got about 6 boxes of unused or sort of unworn clothes from like about 1991 that she can't fit into now, but she doesn't want to throw away. I had this discussion with her the other day. She's like, "Oh well, women don't like, throwing dresses away in case we can miraculously fit into them again one day." I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So she's got stuff littered around the house, and occasionally she'll go in there, do something, move it, and I'll end up kicking it because obviously it's been pretty hot here. I've been wearing flip-flops the whole time, so I've got an injured toe now. But, I'm not one to complain,
We have a whole room in our house, that is assigned to handbags, shoes, and women's clothes that have never been worn. I mean, never worn.
Never is one thing. You can always take them back.
Never. They've all got what she does is she gets them and then she exactly the same reason. Oh, I might fit in that again. But these are clothes you bought in like 1987. You're not going to wear them clothes with the big shoulder pads anymore. You're not going to. One day I'll wear like Joan Collins walking down the street.
You might go to a Dallas themed evening or some Falcon Crest or whatever it was they used to wear them sort of dresses in.
Knots Landing,
yeah, Dynasty, all that.
It came up on my Facebook.
It
came up on my Facebook today. You could actually go now. Spend the day at Southport Ranch with all the J.R. Ewing, Sue Ellen.
Surely most of them actors are dead, though, aren't they?
No, they're still doing it. It must be short of a few quid. I think Larry Hagman's dead. J.R. is. I think he's died. But you can, Cliff Barnes is still hanging around.
Is he?
You can go and see Cliff Barnes.
I've never seen him in anything other than Dallas.
I think it's him. Cliff Barnes was called Ken Kirchhoff. I think it was a question, a quiz. Yeah,
this is great. There's a tennis fan tuned into this going, I remember Ken Kirchhoff.
Well, Ken Kirchhoff was a great question back in the day. Who's Ken Kirchhoff? And a bloke with me knew it's Cliff Barnes. There's another guy. There'd be a lot of American viewers who knew this. It was the brother of the Ewings who wasn't really. I think it might have been Sue Ellen's son or Jock's son. He was the heir. I thought it was Cliff Barnes, but he might not have been. But he's still doing the rounds. But I think Ken Kirchhoff, who was Victoria Principal's brother in the show. He's unfortunately Ken Kirchhoff was her brother. Anyway, enough of Dynasty.
Come to Betting Weekly Game Bet Match for all your Dallas and Dynasty content.
Yes, yeah. Anyway, let's move on. We start the week with a winner. And I've got a fly driving me mad here. We started the Cincinnati Tour with a nice winner.
Yeah, plus 260. I think plus 265. I think it was in the plus 165, 2.65. Yeah. Jordan Thompson. Yeah, he made us sweat on it, didn't he? That was one of them. It was on just early enough. I could watch it all, but if he'd have lost, I mean, obviously he didn't. He gave himself a big lead in the final set tiebreak. If he'd have lost, I would have found it quite tricky to sleep last night because it was at that sort of time it was about 10:30, wasn't it, UK time? That was on. Luckily he won, so I was okay. I could just sort of pop myself back to sleep or whatever. But if he'd have lost that in a final set tiebreak, I'd have been up for about 2 or 3 hours. That's why I don't like watching matches at that time of night. If you win, okay, great, but if you don't, you got a couple of hours of lost sleep. But Yeah, that one worked out nicely, actually. It was, as I kind of hoped or thought, that Humbert might just hit himself out of the contest with too many unforced errors. It is tricky, in Cincinnati, especially when you first play there, to get the depth on your ground strokes right. You've got a bit of altitude, the balls fly around a bit, and Humbert's never done particularly well there at all, so that one worked out quite nicely. But the others are still yet to play, which is quite annoying, isn't it? Because they were based largely on fatigue. Echeverry against Arnaldi, and the other one, Monfils Popyrin, isn't it? I think. Yeah, it did say very specifically on the tournament website, round 1 Monday and Tuesday, round 2 Wednesday and Thursday. So they obviously made an exception for them. I mean, the principle still applies. I mean, I still hope that those ones come in because it'd still be a tough turnaround for very different conditions. But yeah, nice to get a good one straight away. Yeah.
A lot of people have obviously mentioned about if there's a rethink on your process of those two bets. Obviously, with hindsight now, we know that happened. Arnaldi's been bet very heavily in the last 24 hours. He's a now heavy favourite. This will probably be recorded after or go live after that match. Yeah. But Popyrin, I think Popperin's case is even stronger now. Even though he's won the tournament, even though he's got a day rest, I think he's going to be partying. Surely he's never going to win a tournament like that again. He's got to be a fade.
You would think.
Arnaldi, I'm not sure. I wasn't completely buying into Echeverry anyway, but I think now the fact that the point in the argument with the extra day, I think it helps him. But I think Popyrin, I think it makes it stronger that he's won the tournament.
Yeah, I mean Popyrin 250 to 1, winning 100. It was 150 to 1 last time, wasn't it? Carreno Busta won at Montreal 2022, 150 to 1. Now Popyrin, he was at least 250 to 1. And it's come out of the blue, really, hasn't it? Obviously, I saw him in Umag. He was dreadful. We did bet him earlier on in the season, didn't we, to win? I think it was Dubai. There were some pretty good reasons for him, I thought, outright in Dubai. He ended up getting injured. He got a shoulder injury. He lost a match he probably should have won against Khachanov. So, he has been in my thoughts. But to be honest, I wouldn't have thought him winning a Masters 1000. He did get a hell of a lot of luck as well. Dimitrov should have beaten him. No doubt about it. Several match points, one of which was very lucky that he saved. But yeah, from his point of view, to go there to win that, I think it also helped him. Some of the matches were back to back, weren't they? So we had to play 2 matches in a day. I think the fatigue factor was a little bit of a leveler in some cases. But yeah, for him, I think the point you're trying to make is that he's probably having a party. He's probably having a few VBs if he can find them in Montreal. Yeah, it wouldn't be surprising. Why not? He's had the week of his career, so yeah, you would be forgiven for having a few drinks and maybe hanging off the chandeliers in somewhere in Montreal.
Have the week off this week and then get yourself ready for the US Open. That's the plan for me. I think it makes his case stronger. But anyway, that match is probably going to be over or in progress when this podcast launches. So these are the matches we're looking at for Thursday. And the first match we are going to discuss is a very interesting match, actually. I have two big hitters, two players that are renowned for their big serves and renowned for players, and both players in decent form, actually, two young players. Brandon Nakashima against Artur Fils. That's our match we're going to start off with. Artur Fils, the Frenchman, is minus 125. Nakashima is plus 102. The action starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The spread here is 1.5, plus 102 for Fils, minus 1.5. Nakashima receiving 1.5 is minus 130, and the total here, as you guess, it's high. It's 23.5. Over 23.5 is plus 102, under minus 129. When we look at the head-to-head between the two of them, they both played twice before, and it is a winner piece. Fils won on clay in Lyon in France, where he's a Frenchman. On his homeland, he won 7-5, 4-6, 7-6. So that was a match that produced 35 games in the semi-final in Lyon, a tournament that Fils went on to win. And then in Winston-Salem, obviously in America, Nakashima got the better of the Frenchman. But again, in 2-3 sets again, 6-7, 7-6, and then 6-2 in the final set. So the two matches these two have played has seen long matches. Nakashima's on the back of a big win against Taylor Fritz. Fils beat Holt in round 1 here at Cincinnati. We spoke about Cincinnati conditions, thinking it's going to be quick. We said that over 10.5 in set number 1 was a good play if you sort of looked across them and you got sort of plus 150, plus 160, that kind of price. The conditions keeping up to what you would expect this, Sean, before we look at breaking this actual match down.
Yeah. Nishioka said, the courts are fast this week and suit me well. Anyone that's seen any of the matches played in the last couple of days. It certainly in the daytime you would suggest that it's quick. It looks like a court that you will get your rewards for serving big, hitting your ground strokes with plenty of pace and power. As far as the weather's concerned, it's going to be 29 degrees on Thursday, so no problem there. There are thunderstorms expected on Friday, 14 millimetres of rain, but this looks like another one, serve-dominated clash, doesn't it, between these two in lively conditions. But Nakashima, I think, is a bit of value on the money line as well. On the head-to-head, as you said, they've played twice. Nakashima dominates the service points won and return points won totals, 108-92. There have been two close matches, as you said, but Nakashima's clearly been the better player, but quite typically for him, he's been poor on converting breakpoint chances. Only 25% conversion rate in those two matches against Fils. Fils converted 43% of his. That's part of the reason these have been close, because Nakashima's been the dominant player but not been able to convert. Nakashima's created 0.58 breakpoint chances per game in those two matches compared to just 0.2 for Fils, but Fils has been taking more of his chances. That's, as I say, that's what kept it close. What has kept it close. Nakashima has won a huge 84% of his first serve points across these two matches. And remember, one of these was on clay. He's won 84% on first serve and 58% on second serve compared to 50% for Fils. So in the two matches that they've played on clay and hard, Nakashima has been much the better player and probably could have won easier if he'd have taken his chances. So on the matchup, Nakashima, in the last 12 months on outdoor hard at main level, there's a slight advantage for Nakashima. 102 in terms of service points won and return points won total to Fils' 101. So Nakashima's got a slight advantage there as well. Nakashima's the one more attuned to hard courts. Had a great win yesterday, didn't he, against Taylor Fritz. Of course, he let me down when I backed him last week against Rublev, but I think there are excuses for that. Rublev played great that day, and it was very, very windy. I don't know whether you saw that match, but the wind was blown all over the place. Rublev isn't bothered by that, so he says. Nakashima obviously was a bit of a poor one there. Rublev ended up finding his form, didn't he, and getting all the way to the final in Montreal there. But great win for Nakashima last night against Taylor Fritz. He's the one more attuned to hard court at the moment. As I've said, he's played 9 matches already on outdoor hard compared to just 2 for Fils. Fils' first match was a poor loss, wasn't it? 6-2, 6-2, I think it was. Ugo Humbert beat him. And a win over Brandon Holt doesn't really hold much water. I mean, Holt's not really up to Masters level, in all honesty. So I'm going to take 2 bets here. I think it's going to be another tight one. The odds have tempted me here. Over 10.5 games in set 1 is 2.9 with Bet Rivers, plus 190, which, if you consider the stats that I talked about the other day, 40% of these matches do go over 10.5. That makes 2.9 plus 190 a very good price and worth taking about over 10.5 games in set 1. And just keep it simple as well on the money line. I think Nakashima is also value there based on the statistics that I've just gone through. So 2 bets in this one. Set 1 overs and Nakashima to win the match.
I think if you look at the head-to-head record as well, 5 of the 6 sets they played have cashed over 7.5, so that plus 190 on probably arguably what it is going to be the quickest surface that they played so far in their head-to-heads. Plus 190 is a great price, and a tie-break in set 1 is $3. I think that's a very big price. When you 3 tie-breaks they played in 6 sets.
I think some of these odds are generous. I'm going to talk about another one again in a minute, but historically what I've said about Cincinnati, what we've seen, the conditions are quick. You kind of... it's difficult with this because we don't know the schedule. So the thing that could kind of put you off, you're watching this and, a bit later and you do know the schedule and this is a night match, that kind of dampens enthusiasm a bit. But I don't think it will be Nakashima Fils. I mean, it could be, I suppose, but you wouldn't have thought so. But yeah, if it's in the daytime, that obviously makes the bet stronger, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great bet. And if you do take the tie break, that brings into the special, plus more than $2 or bigger. Our special show you support of Game Bet Match by making a bet with our promo code this month. Use the promo code Game Bet Match with Bet Rivers in the US. You will get 50% profit boost on any tennis bet of plus $2 odds or longer. This offer is good through to August the 25th for eligible players. Maximum bet of $25 and max win of $250. If you're a fan of this podcast, please show your support and use this great special. So promo code GameBetMatch, and that applies for any bet at $2 or bigger. That includes parlays, and $3 for a tiebreak here certainly makes appeal to me. If you want to go with Sean, it's plus 190 for the over 10.5, which doesn't really just fall into that special offer. But for an extra couple of games, it might be a little bit of value to do that. The next match we're going to discuss, again, features a big server, and this one could go a long way as well. Judging by the lines here, it looks as though it possibly, the odds makers at BetRivers think it will do. Zhang is plus 230 against Rublev, minus 295. Spread is 3.5, minus 107 for Rublev. Minus 120 for Zhang, receiving 3.5 start. Total again is high, 23.5, with under minus 114, over minus 112. Rublev obviously made the final last week in Montreal. He's travelled across here, not too far to travel, but obviously a tough week. He's also made his statement he's made about his mental health issues that he's having at the moment, so we wish him well in that battle he has there. He leads 2-0 in the head-to-heads, but the last time they met in Dubai this year was a tough one. The first set went to a tiebreak, which Zhang took, and then Rublev recovered to win 6-2, 6-4. Zhang had a great win against Petri Perigard in round one. Really played well. Another long match. I think the second set went to a tiebreak in that match as well. So tiebreaks definitely feature in these kind of matches, and I'm probably guessing that's where we concentrate in our betting strategy tomorrow on this match. Yeah,
given the odds that have been produced, then yes. It get tricky turnaround again for Rublev. He's actually lost his last 5 opening sets in Cincinnati, 3 of which were tiebreaks. And he also lost the opening set to Zhang when they met in Dubai, as you said, in February. And that's reasonably quick conditions as well, isn't it, Dubai, depending on the time of day that the match is being played. In fact, 6 of his last 9 opening sets in Cincinnati have gone over 10.5 games, Rublev. And this has been a trend for quite some time with Rublev. We've talked about it many times on this show. He starts slowly and then has to recover. He can't always do it. Like against Popyrin in the final in Montreal, another slow start, wasn't able to recover. This could be another one with Zhang already having had that one match under his belt already. I did watch that match actually, Zhang against Pericard. Pericard donated his serve a couple of times. It's very, very all or nothing, isn't it, with Pericard? The big serve, the big forehand. If that's not working, it's problems, and he threw in a few double faults. Zhang was solid. And obviously Rublev comes here, possible fatigue element, physical and sort of mental, emotional as well after a long week in Montreal and a week where he probably would have been a little bit relieved quite a lot relieved knowing Rublev to have kind of turned round what was a bit of a slump in form, really, quite a substantial slump in form. He's turned that around now. He's got to a Masters final. He's the kind of guy that does constantly need reminding how good he is, because he doesn't have that, as I've said it many, many times on the show. He doesn't have that steely self-belief that a lot of the top guys do. He is vulnerable. Probably links into some of the sort of emotional problems that he's had as well. But looking at Zhang, he's quite a serve-dominant player as well. He's held serve 86% of the time away from clay this season, playing 0.33 tiebreaks per set. So that's basically 1 every match. If every match goes to 3 sets, he's statistically going to play a tie-break, and he's only winning 33% of his return points. So given that BetRivers are going to give me 2-1 about set 1 going over 10.5 games, all the trends from a Rublev point of view, it points to that happening. He is a very slow starter in tournaments. Conditions here are different to Montreal. I know it's the same surface-ish. It's not the same, but it's similar. The balls are sort of the same, but there is that altitude. The balls do fly here. It does take a lot of players quite some time to get their act together, if you want to say it like that. When they've come from Cincinnati, shall I say, from Montreal. So yeah, set 1 overs here for me. And that does apply for the promo code. There you go. 2-1. 2-1. This is it. This is the bet you want to use. The promo code GameBetMatch with BetRivers in the US. You will get 50% profit boost on any tennis bet of $2 or longer. And this one is $2 or longer. Maximum bet of 25. Max win of 250.
if you're a fan of the podcast, make sure you use the promo code GameBetMatch. So that applies to that promo code. Head across there. What a great bet that looks to me. I like that as well. I like overs in the next couple of matches we're talking about. Zverev against Khachanov is our penultimate match. Alexander Zverev minus 375. I've got a sort of sense about Alexander Zverev at the moment that he just may be running on empty. Playing an awful lot of tennis at the moment. He's going deep in tournaments, quarterfinals, finals, semi-finals. He's going deep. Not playing well, but not getting over the line in a lot of them. He's minus 375 against Khachanov, who's plus 275. He's going to be a lot fresher. 3.5 again is the handicap here, minus 115. Khachanov plus 3.5, which does tempt me. Zverev is minus 110 in the total. We're one lower. 22.5 with over minus 118 and under minus 107. When you look at the head-to-head record between the two of them, they've played a few times before. 6 times they've actually played. Zverev leads 4-2 in the head-to-heads. You would think in their matches, though, that there'll be a lot of games because they're so big servers, go for big winners. But the only time the match has gone over was in a 5-set match for the French Open in 2018. All the other matches between these two players have been fairly one-sided, including the match they last met, which was in Miami, where Zverev won 6-4, 6-4. They also met in the Olympics in 2021, which Zverev also won 6-3, 6-1, and that was the final. I think people would look at overs here, but
it's a curious record, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking at. You just think the two of them will play long matches. The way they go for their shots, they're winners. They're big hitters. You think it would be they're over 22.5 going blind would be a bet, but I just got a sneaky feeling that minus 375 Alexander Zverev it could be a trap.
Yeah, I mean 9 of the last 10 sets they've played have finished in 9 games or fewer, which you wouldn't expect with these two. Both pretty big serves. Players that can rip through their service games on their day. Could be an opportunity, this, for Khachanov. As you've said there, I mean, Khachanov will be much fresher, having played only 4 matches since Wimbledon. Zverev's played 12, so 3 times as many. And he did look... I've said he's been looking tired in the last couple of tournaments. Olympics, he looked tired. Last week against Korda, he looked a bit jaded as well. Don't know whether that's just my impression or that is what it is. But he has played an awful lot of tennis. He hasn't really had a break. Zverev's got a curious record in Cincinnati as well. He's lost his opening match here 7 times in his career, but he's won 9 of his last 10 matches now. So this was a tournament that he absolutely hated for a long, long time because he just couldn't get a level on the conditions at all. It could be the case that he's now got a handle on the conditions, but he's got a very questionable record here. 6 of his 8 opening round matches at this tournament have gone to 3 sets, and 7 of the 8 have gone to at least 21 games. But as you say, the head-to-head record between them is a little off-putting, to say the least, isn't it, when you're looking about overs? Khachanov's done it the other way in Cincinnati. He's won 6 of his 7 opening round matches at this particular tournament. So he hasn't taken long to adapt to the conditions at all. And he did it again against Cerundolo in I think it was one of the only 2 matches that was played on Monday, wasn't it? I think so. He certainly won it. Yeah, he won it 6-love. I think 6-love.
Cavoli v Tommy Paul was the epic match. The other match on Monday was a crazy match.
Yeah, that one was a lot longer. But so Khachanov's been in a bit of a slump as well. I mean, not good form at all. I'm just looking at his record here. Last time he won back-to-back matches was a while ago. Let's have a look when it actually was. Rome was the last time he won back-to-back matches. And he looked poor in a couple of the matches. I mean, he lost to Seong Chan Hong in Washington, and then Arnaldi in Montreal. But he looked pretty good against Cerundolo. But Cerundolo, I don't think has got any kind of heart in that matchup at all. I think Khachanov's beaten him 6 times out of 6 now. I think Cerundolo's given up with that one. So maybe not sort of look into that too much. But if you look at their Cincinnati records overall, there's not a great deal in it. In fact, Khachanov got a better win rate, 60% win rate here, Khachanov, compared to 56% for Zverev. And service points won and return points won totals. Zverev is on 104, Khachanov is 102. And Khachanov's held serve 87% of the time here. So that kind of pushes in the overs if you want to take a risk on that. And they're head-to-head. I know it's 4-2 to Zverev, but it's not massively overwhelming. It's 102 to 98 in terms of service points won and return points won totals. So it's a bit of a curate's egg, this one. There's a lot of sort of conflicting information. My gut feeling is that Zverev has played a lot of tennis. I think it's undoubtable, if you want to say that Khachanov is the fresher player here. So I think Khachanov plus 1.5 sets, roughly evens, minus 102, 1.98 with Bet Rivers. I think that's probably where I will be looking to go in this match.
Yeah, I want to fade Zverev. I just think he could burn himself out before the US Open, and I think if he doesn't burn himself out, with Djokovic obviously achieving the goal of winning the Olympic gold, Alcaraz obviously winning Wimbledon and the French Open, doing his achievement for the year, and Sinner always questionable. I think Zverev he saves himself a little bit. He's got a great chance in the US Open, which is, we would think that probably be one of his, what would be the tournament that he has got the best chance of winning.
We had him there last year, didn't we?
Yeah, I got a feeling I don't think he's going to be all at it this week, and I think minus 375 could be a trap. So be very careful. Khachanov is
I wouldn't put anybody off backing Khachanov on the money line at that price. I think it could be the case that he's just played too much tennis, Zverev, and he's going to roll over a little bit easy this week. Maybe, we'll see. He'll probably go on to win the title now that I've said that. But he doesn't look full of energy, that's for sure.
Yeah, final match, and another player that doesn't look full of energy is Hurkacz. Minus 265.
He never does, does he?
Plus 205. No, he doesn't. But
he always
come
looks
back
tired.
I'm the equivalent of Hubert Hurkacz. I always look tired. I'm always absolutely shattered. Hurkacz is minus 265. Nishioka is plus 205. He's got a bigger serve. I'll do more work than him. 2.5 is the spread here. Hurkacz minus 2.5 is a very heavy favourite, minus 157 with Bet Rivers. Nishioka plus 2.5 is plus 120. The total very high, plus 20. It's 23.5 with over minus 102. The Hurkacz matches are always high on the totals because he very rarely gets broken and he rarely creates very break points. But this could be a dangerous match for him because Hurkacz didn't look fit against Popper in the quarterfinal of the Montreal. He's recovered from injury, hasn't played since Wimbledon, went straight to Montreal, reached the quarterfinals, but went the distance in all three of those matches he played there. Nishioka won the tournament at Atlanta, played really well, beating Jordan Thompson, beat TFO on the route to the final there and beating him in the final, Thompson. Since then, obviously understandable, Washington he lost in the first round after the week after his win. Montreal lost in qualifying, and in Cincinnati though he's back to his best, come through 2 qualifying matches, beat Kekmanovic and he's yet to drop a set. So this here, another one, could looks a little bit of a trap. Minus 265 Hurkacz. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, Nishioka's shaping up nicely for us to bet him again in the Asian swing, isn't he? He's our go-to player when it comes to some of those tournaments. And, he's showing what he can do after a kind of quite a long period in the doldrums, split up with his coach. And, he's another one that can get down on himself a lot. But he seems to be on the up at the minute. The problem I got here with backing Nishioka is he has got a very questionable record against big servers. Against the ones in my database that I've got listed as big servers, Nishioka is 4-12 win-loss and just 1-6 on outdoor hard. So he is susceptible against big servers. He doesn't like playing big servers. And only 4 of those 16 matches have featured a tiebreak. So if you're taking that equation on further, it should be 1.33 minus $3 that there's no tiebreak in this match. And this is all because of Nishioka's weak serve. He does break serve. He breaks serve a lot, but his serve is always there, kind of liable to be broken. So there's some interesting stats on this one. Again, all these 16 matches that I'm talking about are Nishioka against the players that I've classed as big servers. Set 1 has finished either 6-3 or 6-4 12 times out of those 16 matches, which is 75% of the time. So immediately that's an interesting one for correct score bettors. Hurkacz has done really well to come back so early after that knee injury that he was initially told, I believe, that he would be out for the rest of the season. But he came back within a few weeks, like a month, if that, which seems to be a trend. They're all like bionic tennis players, aren't they? Djokovic ended up winning the Olympics.
You don't see them complaining about hitting a chest with their toe or their nerve damage on their backs.
Well,
do you? They're a different breed.
They've got medical team. They've got a medical team for everything, and they're whipped into the hospital and surgery within about 30 seconds of doing anything. Or they've got the absolute best guys looking at them. I've got nobody apart from Google.
Don't use that. Don't use that. You'll never be well. You'll always be injured.
No, I haven't. I must admit, I'm not looking at that. That's not a great idea. But that is my only option, unfortunately. So he came back in Montreal, he did very, very well considering the injury that he had and the lack of tennis that he had. But he didn't look comfortable, particularly from what I saw moving to the right. It depends how much better that knee's got. I can't imagine the week that he had in Montreal where he had to play back-to-back. I can't imagine that was a great thing for him. You would have thought he would be trying to ease himself in gently, but that was anything but gently, wasn't it? Back-to-back matches on the same day. So Nishioka's playing great.
And long matches as well.
Yeah,
long
they
matches
were.
As well.
Some of them, long matches. So it depends how his knees kind of come out of that week in Montreal. I would be tempted with Nishioka, but the fact that his weakness is big servers, his kryptonite, if you like, is big servers, that is off-putting. So I'm quite tempted here with under half a tiebreak at slight plus money, plus 102. It's not normally a bet you would take in a Hurkacz match, but given that Nishioka's very, very strong trend is losing to big servers and not even getting to a tiebreak because of his weak serve, that is probably the bet that I would take here. Or the odds aren't out yet, I don't think, but set one correct score, 6-3 or 6-4 to either player. That's cash 75% of the time when Nishioka's played big servers, so that's an option as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways to play. I don't think they're going to be your official plays, are they?
No, it is a bit risky. But these are the only matches that we've got set up for Thursday, and there is some very, very strong trends there, so it's an interesting guide, I think, for people that want to bet that match.
So what are your official plays then, Sean, for Thursday's matches?
Official plays, I'm going to take the two bets in the same match, the Nakashima match against Arthur Feast, Nakashima to win it, plus 102, and over 10.5 games in set one at 2.9 plus 190 Bet Rivers. And similar bet in the Rublev against Zhang match, which is set one over 10.5 games at 2-1 with Bet Rivers.
Yeah. And remember, if you do take that 2-1, you qualify for the special. So make sure you put the promo code in and use that special bet that we have there on Game Bet Match. So interesting bets there. I do like the over 10.5 in both of those matches. I think they're two really good bets. And I might even go for the tie breaks in both matches as well to really enhance that price as well.
Yeah, could do.
So there's a lot of ways to play. If you've been following all the bets on the show since the start of the year, seems a long time ago, back in January, minus 0.75. So pretty much level heading into the US Open, which starts in less than 2 weeks from now. When are you flying out, Sean, to US?
The Labour Day weekend. I think I fly on the Saturday. So that's the 31st of August.
Oh, you're after me. I'm going on the 29th. So, yes, I'll be there on the 29th.
You'll still be there then, won't you?
Yeah, I'm coming back on, I think, the 2nd or 3rd. I'm only there for a few days, 5 days. So,
yeah,
all the build-up to the US Open will be here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. Not only that, we'll have the build-up to the women's as well with Roy Girani on Betting Weekly WTA. And this week, tomorrow, is the start of the soccer seasons all around Europe, and we will have you covered on our two shows, Betting Weekly Premier League with all the handicappers, myself, Jack Wright and Dan Roebuck, and Betting Weekly Extra Time when we look at the leagues all across Europe outside of England with Dan Roebuck, James Easton is on this week this year, and also Steve Wiss. I couldn't remember, so many different people.
I don't know who's on
this show. I have a lot of people on it, and obviously we've got two new shows as well, the Betting Weekly Dojo with myself and Neil Channing every single Monday, looking at the world of sports betting. It was a good show on Monday. It was a good laugh. Talking to Neil, great entertainment. Neil, if you make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel for that. And every day at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, Betting Weekly Live. And yesterday we cashed tickets on every single sport. Absolutely nailed it. Some winners every day. And every day, Monday to Friday, there'll be two of the Because We Win crew available on there, giving you the best bets for that day's action, looking at the trading moves with Bet Rivers, where the money's going, and giving you their advice on what to bet on throughout the day. So we'll have you covered here on the Betting Weekly Studios on YouTube. Download the podcast Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Betting Weekly Studios, and also follow us on our socials at Because We Win on Instagram and Twitter. Sean, that's it. We're going to have one more show this week. Maybe not tomorrow. Hopefully on Friday, if we can see one depending on the order of play. Yeah. Because we've got a strange Sean. The final is Monday night, isn't it? It's Monday night.
I think it is Monday, yeah. I don't know.
So it's a bit of a strange week.
Everything's been pushed back, hasn't it, because of the Olympics, so it's all a bit of a mess at the minute.
Yeah, so we'll get another show in before the end of the week when we're able to do so. Maybe on probably Friday, because of all the soccer content coming tomorrow, I'll be too crammed. So Friday could be a good day, but make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll tell you exactly when we're going to be producing the show on Because We Win. Sean, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Take care. Good luck with your bets, everybody, and hopefully some Cashman tickets. Make sure you watch Betting Weekly live every day, Monday to Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. More content coming your way here on the Betting Weekly studios. Have a good day.